and that's why you see the roads here were not paved then. The streets weren't paved until 1960 or 61. And then what else did you ask me about
Well,
here?
In the 50s, what was it like growing up in Omaha in the 50s? We just got out of Korea, right? And
Yeah.
we had prosperous economic times. We had the Cold War going on with the Russians. So what was it like for a, I don't know, 15-year-old kid in Omaha, Nebraska? What would you do around here, around this part of Omaha?
Around this part of Omaha.
Yeah. What would a typical day be like?
We went to grade school on 48th and Q.
Ashland Park.
Ashland Park. It's torn down now. The old school is, and the new school is right up here behind us on 52nd and right up there by you, close to you. That's where all those little kids go to school that are walking by your house during the day. So that was that there, and then let me see what else. There were no sidewalks. Just walked probably on the gravel road, and I don't. The school was a good school. We had a principal called. She was called this. Birdie Clayball, and they called her Birdie Balls. The boys did. I don't think the girls did, but the boys did. At least the boys I ran around with. And she was tough. She had a stop paddle. This paddle said stop on it. Man, she'd whack kids with that thing. But she needed to whack some of them.
Sure. Is that where you got the idea for your amen signs?
No, not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Birdie balls.
Yeah.
Okay, who were some of your friends? Childhood friends?
My friends.
The Horton brothers, do I remember them?
Yeah, my brother Terry.
Okay, Uncle Slip.
My brother Terry, my brother Al. They were my two closest friends, no doubt about that. And your Uncle Terry, you knew him when he was a joker. Well, I think he was born a joker. He didn't take a lot of things seriously. but he was all right. We had a lot of fun with him.
You went to school. You were in the same grade together, or a year apart? Same grade?
No, we were in the same grade. And the reason for that was we started to school down by Rouleau, Nebraska. And I think the name of the school was Bell. And the only reason I think that's it is because Terry and I went down there a few years ago. We found the place where we lived, we found the school, and that was pretty good in itself. Just going down there and finding those things.
Yeah.
So.
They were still there?
The school's still there. And the house, I guess, was still there too. It must have been. Or less. Yeah, I think it was. Unless we just guessed at where it was.
Right.
So, Rouleau. And then that's why Kevin teased us. He used to tease us about Rouleau, Nebraska.
Bert and Charlie from Rouleau, Nebraska.
Yeah. So it's Kevin and Bert Charlie from Rouleau, Nebraska.
Okay, you and Uncle Slick, what would you do? You had paper routes. Tell us about the paper routes. How did that all come about?
Yeah, well, it came about because we wanted some money. But you know what? Your grandfather, Charles Kennedy, he went down to the World Herald office there on 24th and Ann Street, and he fixed it up, and he got us 2 jobs. We had two we had 2 paper routes in South Omaha.
Where were they,
Where were they?
generally?
Okay. You know where 24th and Q is?
Mhm.
And the Dairy Queen there? Well, your Uncle Slick had the route that was south of 24th and Q, and it ran to 20th and Q. And my paper route it went from 26th and Q, I think, to 20th and Q, or maybe 22nd and Q. And one block north, I think it went as far north as the Francis Cabrini School there. And one of them was, I think mine was 55 south was the number of the route. And I'm not sure what Terry's was. I want to say 92 south, but I don't think that was the number. And I will tell you, we'd get up early on Sunday morning, and we'd get up early on Sunday morning and go carry our paper routes and then go home.
Was it just on Sunday morning?
No.
Okay.
But that would be, that's the one I remember. No, the other one was weekday nights, like they are now.
So
But what a joy that was to be able to have your own money. You know, to make your own money. And I'll always be glad. I'll always be glad that we had that.
Because it gave you, probably boosted your self-esteem, gave you some independence,
Yeah.
some control over.
Bought, you know, that way we could buy our own jeans and buy the ones we wanted.
Mhm.
And it was wonderful. And one thing about...
Did you have bicycles, or did you do this on foot?
I did it on foot. You carried your paper, you picked your papers up on a corner. There'd be a World Herald truck come along and painted green and yellow, kind of like a John Deere.
Mhm.
I mean the colors, but so we would carry our papers. That route in South Omaha, one was 55 south, I believe, and one was 92 south, and down on 26th Street and Q, just a little bit north of 26th and Q, there was a restaurant. That's what they call it. Boy, there's a lot of drinking going on in that restaurant, see. But they couldn't, back then, they couldn't sell beer in Omaha. Cause that's just started too here just recently, hadn't it?
What?
Selling beer in Omaha on Sunday.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, so we'd go in there, and that bar, that Sunset Cafe, there were people living above it, just a few, you know, not a bunch. And there was that stairway that went up there, and it had it looked to me like a 15-watt light bulb, you know, one about the size of something that'd go on a Christmas tree. And flies had crapped all over it. Man, you couldn't see anything, hardly anything. And I went up there one Sunday morning, and there was a dot or two on each step going upstairs, and they were dots of blood. Now, I was ready to get up there, and I got up there, and I threw that paper down, and I ran down the stairs because I was scared. I was flat scared. And that's a true story too, man. You know, and I went in there, you take one paper into the bar, restaurant, bar, whatever. And, you know, and you'd pay, you'd put the paper down. And you know, those people in there were always nice to me. And I was afraid of them, but I told you not too long ago that I hadn't met a black person until I moved to Omaha, and I was almost 12 years old. And that's a true story too. I didn't see any black people down in Omaha County, down in Omaha. Mom said there was one black man that lived up in Brownville, but that was it. And I don't know if there's any black people that live in Omaha County yet.
Might not be.
I'm going to find out though, because that'd be interesting.
Yes, it would be.
Next time we have our lunch, I'll ask Gary Hall.
Well, we could look it up. We can find out the ethnic demographics of Omaha County.
Okay.
So the paper routes.
So the paper out then when we didn't live in South Omaha too long. And then we moved out here. So we were able to transfer our paper route, you know, or get another paper route, two of them out here. And mine was south of, south and west of 60th and L, and I carried the paper from L Street to Q Street, and from 60th Street to 62nd Street, and carried a little over 100 papers, and that was
Every day you had 100 papers?
Every day.
Wow.
Except maybe Sunday, one or two more, you know. And they dropped the paper off. They dropped the paper off on 60th and N Street. Oh, no, not N Street either. No, it wasn't N Street.
Was there a grocery store? Was that old Jim's grocery store right there?
No. There was another grocery store there, and then there was another on a block south of that, and then Jim's was down on 60th and Q Street.
Okay.
But people were always nice to me, and some would tip, and then on Saturday I'd go into South Omaha. We had to collect too. We had to go around on Thursday night and collect the 35 cents a week from the customers. They could pay in advance if they wanted to, but not too many of them did. And then we'd take the money in and pay our bill. There was a bill for the paper, whatever we owed the World Herald for the paper. Then we sold the paper, and then there was a Commercial Federal savings and loan that hadn't started very long before we moved out here, and it was on, like I say, 25th and N Street, and I'd go in there and I started a savings account, and that was a good deal for me. And I think that I throughout, as long as I lived in Omaha, my checking account stuff was at Commercial Federal. And then when we moved back here, many years later from western Colorado, then when we started our checking account, we started at Commercial Federal. And now, I think you even have a checking account in it. It's no longer Commercial Federal, but it's the checking account that we have over on, over on 52nd and 52nd.
Grover?
Huh? Yeah, 52nd Grover, right. And we still have it in there today. And even got some money in it now.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Pretty dull people.
Dull? Okay, so
Didn't change any.
your paper route, that was a big part of your life. What else when you were, I remember that you used to play football out here in the park.